Everybody, good afternoon. Today got away from me way quicker than I expected, and all of a sudden I looked at the time and realized it was only about 5 minutes until it was time for me to go live. So I ran real quick and squeaked and got everything done. Give me just a second here and let me find this going on my iPad. There we go. So how's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's having a good day, good week. I know days just kind of run together now, so I don't know if it makes a big difference that it was a 3-day weekend. Oh goodness. All right, I'm gonna give a few minutes here for people to pop on. Feels like sometimes it doesn't show up right away, so let me reload that. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I can see people on there. All right, so we got a couple people. Wave and say hi once you get on there so I know you're there. Just having a quiet day here at home. Hi, Zaimara. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Yeah, this day, it kind of was cloudy and rainy, and then all of a sudden the sun came out, and I'm just going along. We had lunch, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's like 5 minutes till we go live. So hi, Kara from North Dakota. Hi, Amber. Hi, Berta from, or Bertie, sorry. Look at it a little closer. Those are small letters, from Florida. Get the right name there. All right, I'm getting all my stuff organized here. YouTube Live has you lay everything out and take your photos, so then I have to kind of move it off my workspace so I don't have a mess. Hi, Greta from Oregon. Oh, yep, no worries at all. Hi from New York, Heather. And Clarkson, Washington, Catherine. Oh, thank you for joining us. Yes, it's a beautiful day here too. I had to close my curtains so that I wasn't blind with the sun coming in, so. Oh goodness, and I'm just seeing my hair. I didn't really even take a chance to look in the mirror here before suddenly going, oh, it's time. So, oh, and hi Karen. Have to remind me your name there. All right, so today, I'm wondering if I should take a little more time here. I was kind of late announcing it on Instagram, but it's always available on rewatch, so even if I miss. Hi from Colorado. Just want to make sure I give enough time for everyone who wants to come join to hop on here and be able to join. And Leah should be here soon to answer any questions. If you haven't joined us before, I'll probably say this again here in a little bit, but if you haven't joined us before, make sure and leave lots of comments. Click the share, click over and share it on your Facebook page. There's Leah. Hi Joyce from California. We pick a winner at the end. Leah will announce a winner at the end for a $15 gift card. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask those. If I miss them, Leah or someone else on the chat will often answer. And Leah also links to each of the products as we use them. So if you miss it as I go by with what I'm using, she'll post the link there so you can find it. So don't worry about that. Hi from Ohio. Oh, yay, Gen Rescue. I know. Can't wait for our next release. We've got some really fun things coming up in that next release. So, all right, so today we're pulling out, kind of mixing some medium old and new, newish, not like super, super new. Hi from Germany. Oh, thanks for joining us. And from Texas. Oh, yikes, tornadoes. Ooh, stay safe. That does not sound like fun. Tornadoes are one of those things that I love watching on TV, but I wouldn't want to watch in person. They look cool, but not if I was anywhere near them. All right, so today, this is kind of the card we're making today. We're kind of doing a fun fold. I haven't done one of these in a while, and so it's kind of fun to make something that opens with a little more of a unique design. And then we're using, it's one of my very, very favorite Pink Fresh sets, actually. It's called Falling For You, and it's this great scene building set. And there's some great ideas on the back. And if you go look at this set on our website, there's so many great just scenes using the whole thing. But I kind of thought it would be fun just to kind of show how some of the different little elements can work together just on their own to make a simple little card. So I kind of love how this is almost a masculine, I don't know, I think it's appropriate. I didn't put any jewels or crystals on it, so I feel like that helps keep it a little more masculine. But using just some of the little, and doing some ink blending over the top. I've also got a stitch, diagonal stitch square on there. And then, I don't know if you can kind of see it in the photos, but we added a background onto it. And this is one of our 6x6 cling backgrounds. It's called Lush Vines. And it's a great just kind of leafy backdrop. And I thought it was kind of a good fit with that woodsy, outdoorsy sort of theme going on. So yeah, this is super fun set. Another idea, I mean, I have all kinds of fun ideas with the set, but I want to use somewhere down the road, I'm thinking that little sunshine image on there, make a super cute, clean and simple card. I mean, pop that on, happy little sentiment underneath, color it, and be a super fun, or stamp out a whole background of the sunshine or border with the sunshine. And then the other thing I would love to do is use those mountains and just kind of add a whole mountainscape, even without a bunch of other things. And then like we used down here, just that little tree and the little tiny tent down at the bottom. So lots and lots of fun ideas with this set. I kind of want to pull it out and do some more things with it here soon. So, all right, let me make sure I didn't miss any comments. Hello from Maine, Wisconsin, Los Angeles, another Minnesota. Hi, Nikki and Catherine. Thank you for sharing. All right, so, oh, and then hello from Hawaii. That's where my brother and his family are. Let's see. Oh, I know. It is hard in Germany. I know the international makes it a little more challenging. Yes, Kara, camping and outdoor scrapbooking. That would be really great. Hi from Canada, Annalise. All right, I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and we'll talk. We'll go ahead and get started a little bit here. It feels like a Monday. It might be a Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday. And yay, I'm glad you like guy cards. I know guy cards are always so hard for me just to leave them simple. And I like that this one has a lot of fun elements, but it still fits a good masculine theme. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this rotated around and we'll go ahead and get started and see how this card comes together. All right. There we go. All right, and then I always have to just kind of get the camera level there. All right. So here's the sets we're going to use. I did a little bit of advanced die cutting to help make this come together a little bit easier. But what we're going to do first is we're going to stamp and heat emboss each of these images. And then I've got some of our beautiful dye inks that we're going to blend over the top to get the colors. And then I have some craft paper that we're going to make the background, the card base. We're going to use warm buff on that and then coordinate it with the next color in that color family to stamp our sentiment on there. So let's go ahead and get started with the heat embossing first. I think that's a good first step on this card, and then we can do the blending. Yes, the clouds, Linda, that's a really great idea too. So of course there's the coordinating, there's the stamp set and the coordinating dies. And what's kind of fun about these coordinating dies, I have, just like Linda said there, I've used just that little cloud die as its own cloud die, even without the stamp image on it. It's super duper fun. And the same thing with the trees. You can die cut those trees. You could do them out of brown cardstock and layer with green over the top, or you can color or ink blend on them. So kind of a fun way to use those. And then they're same with the little tree there. And then the mountains, what's fun is you can either die cut a whole border and then stamp the mountains in that border, so you get a whole row of them. Or you can also just individually do a mountain. So lots of fun little ideas with the coordinating dies as well. But let's start off here with our heat embossing. I'm going to pull out my Misty. And I've just got a little piece of white cardstock here that we're going to use. And before I do anything, I'm going to run through heat embossing. I'm going to go ahead and run my powder tool over the entire image. And then line up. Now I'm going to want 2 sets of the trees, and I'm also going to want the sunshine and the little tent, but I only need 1 of each of those. So I'm going to stamp all of them on here at the same time. Oh, and then the little tent there as well. And then I'm going to peel off these ones I don't need a second one of. And then I can rotate this around and add my trees again on the other side. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. It's just kind of a quick way to multitask and get more effort out of the one try here. All right. I'm gonna ink this up really well. I love using my Misty when I'm heat embossing, especially for emboss resist like this. So you definitely don't have to, but my preference, just because I never know if I've messed up, if I haven't inked something fully, anything little and simple like that, I like to just stamp it a couple times. That way I know I have really, really good coverage with my ink. And I don't have to worry about missing any little spots. All right, I'm gonna clean off just those couple images that I don't need there, the sunshine and the little tent. And I'm gonna carefully not smudge any of my ink there, but I wanna rotate this just a little and then quickly restamp the trees in that other corner there. And that way I'll have just as many images as I need, all stamped out. Okay, then I can peel that off real quick. Let's just pop those back on there for now, and then I'll set that aside and we can clean that in a minute. I'm gonna pull out my clear embossing powder and then just sprinkle a good coat of that clear over the top. And because it's clear, it's kind of hard to see, but it's not impossible. So you should be able to see it on there on the screen, I'm hoping. Just kind of, and I always like to just look and make sure that it looks like I've got powder on my entire image, so I don't heat set it with a hole in there. Okay, now I'm gonna get noisy for a minute, pull out my heat gun, and do that real quick. I always just kind of do that double check just to make sure it's all shiny and glossy, so I know I haven't missed any spots of the embossing powder. I'm gonna fix my phone is a little too tilted there. Excuse my hand there while I fix that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, so now I have all those little images. I'm gonna just carefully cut them apart so I can do my ink blending without overlapping onto anything that I don't want my ink colors to get on. So we're gonna start with the trees. And real quick here, I'm gonna just because I have this fear of losing little stamp images, so I hate to just leave them floating around here without attaching them to my my backing. It's kind of just a safety thing. Like I said, I really hate to lose those little pieces. All right, and I don't know if there's just no more comments or if it's not updating. So if anyone's asking questions, I'm not seeing any updates there. So I'm just gonna keep going and then, all right. So I'm just using any blending brushes, blending foam, whatever you want to use will work. These are just little makeup brushes that I had. I didn't need anything really big, so I just grabbed these little ones that I can use to ink blend over the top of these. And because they're heat embossed, the white area where I stamped is going to emboss, or it's going to resist the ink. So that way I can go right over the top. And you can see how that image just, to me, this is always a little bit like magic. It just kind of makes that image just pop out. Super duper fun. So I'm gonna, and I kind of, once I dip it in the ink, I like to just kind of dab a little bit off the sides. Just because it kind of keeps you from getting any blobs of ink. And this color, I don't remember if I mentioned that, was Grassy Knoll. It's such a great, great green. All right, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. And just for a little bit of a fun, different effect, I'm gonna go a little darker on my color here. So I'm not going to dab as much of the ink off. I'm just going to let it get a little bit bolder. And then the other thing, I don't know if you can tell as I'm doing my ink blending there, I'm only keeping the rotation because I'm going in a circular motion. And by only going the one direction, what it does is as it goes around, it kind of gives me kind of a specific shading that, I don't know if you can see that there, but thank you, Leah. And thank you, now I know it wasn't Robert, I don't remember the name of who was actually attached there to the account that says Robert, but thank you. I knew I was going to forget that name. Today is my big 4-0, in the 40s now, so kind of fun. I used to think that was really old, and now I'm there and I'm going, I don't really feel any different than I did yesterday, so. I'm kind of an introvert, so birthdays I'm kind of fine with them being a little bit on the down low and quiet. So, you know, some people love to tell everyone, yes, it's a big one. Like I said, I keep it on the down low. I don't really say much. All right, we got 2 more colors to ink blend. Oh, happy birthday to you, Annalise, as well. All right, so the little tent there, we're going to do that one with Summer Shower. And that one's a pretty easy because it's not a very big image, so it's not going to take very much. And the same as with stamping here with dye inks. When you first put them on, they're going to look a little maybe harsher, darker, more blotchy and bumpy. But as soon as that ink settles in and dyes the paper, like I said, it's the same with stamping. It's going to smooth out, it's going to soften up a little, and it's going to get a nice, really beautiful look. So just if you're ever ink blending with these and it feels like it's not quite how you want it right to start with, have no fear, it will come. And then this, I kind of wanted to go with a little bit of a bold yellow, just to kind of match the rustic tones that we're doing here. So I went with marigold. Yeah, that's what I said. And the same thing on this, I'm keeping my rotation of my ink blending, just going the one same direction. And then what happens there is you kind of look at it, the ink collects, instead of on all sides of the heat embossing, it kind of adds it in a spiral effect there. So it's not really a big deal. It's just kind of a fun little thing I like to do so that you kind of just, you get a little bit of a different shadowing on it. That's kind of fun. All right. And you know what I forgot to bring in here with me? Did I? Nope. Okay. I do still have a little, had to think there for a minute. All right. Instead of, they are a little bit reactive with water, yes. So if you add splatters of water or anything, you get a little bit of texture that way for sure. Okay. Instead of, now at this point, I like to do these. I know a lot of times in our lives we die cut and then stamp. These, because of the ink blending, it's easier just to hold on to them, to do them this way. And it's harder to see with the clear embossing on there. So I usually do this first and then die cut to save some time and work with what we're doing here today. I've kind of in advance done this and die cut these in advance. So just to kind of speed things up a little. Yes, and same thing. It's almost like, what's that? The magic marker, those coloring books. It's like it just magically appears when you do the ink blending over it. So I really love that too. I have to agree with you. Yes, so they don't react like oxides or distress inks, but they do react a little bit. So I did notice that just if you add splatters, you do get a little bit of a. All right, so let's lay out our little scene here. I'm gonna do it just one little bit at a time. And what I did on here, you may notice, I kind of planned, so I put one tree there, and then I put this one down lower. It's just gonna add to the feeling. It's almost like I've added a different size of tree on there, but then I'm gonna trim off that little bit at the bottom when I'm done. And then I can add that other tree, let's do the darker one there, tucked back behind, and it suddenly feels like I have 3 sizes of trees there. So kind of a fun little different, and I'm hiding the bottom of that little one there so you can't see it. and then adding that little tree tucked down there. All right, then I'm just going to use liquid glue to adhere each of these in place. And this is where my little jewel picker thing again comes in handy, because I can pick that up, I can add a dab of glue there, and then I can add that back in place. And you can use tweezers or anything else there too. But this works really well for those little pieces there. But then for this over here, this is what I wasn't sure if I had what I needed. It's a little bit of an old piece, but this is my smart Jennifer McGuire trick. This is press and seal saran wrap. The jewel picker, that's from Studio Katia. It's really pretty. I love the little pretty jewels on the inside. All right, so this is a little piece of press and seal. It's been used a few times, so it's not as sticky as it used to be, but it's still got some stick there. So what this is really helpful for is I can make sure I have everything there like I want it. Oh, and then not do what I just did there and move it. But now I can come over the top, push it in place. I can pick all of those up at the same time. Add a little bit of glue to the back of everything. And then I can stick them all back in place at the same time, and they're all going to go right to where I want them to. And then I can just carefully peel that back off. That's, again, a trick that I learned from Jennifer McGuire that I really love. So, and then I'm going to adhere that little sunshine on that corner down there. Let's fix that tree. That's why I like liquid glue, because it gives me a little wiggle room on these to kind of adjust them as I'm setting them in place, kind of wiggle them into the place I want. So, and I usually just keep a scrap of that press and seal kind of handy. Then I always have it ready to use when I want to. All right, now I can just snip off that little bit of the tree at the bottom there. And then for the sunshine, I'm going to turn it over to the back to guarantee I get a nice straight line to trim off that extra. And realistically, you could leave that kind of hanging off the side too, and it'd be totally fine. But I kind of thought with these kind of going off the side, I kind of wanted just to kind of block it into that little square. And the square, I know I mentioned it at the beginning, that's cut from Diagonal Stitch Squares. It's the medium size one there. So kind of a fun size. And before we move on, I'm just going to go ahead. That's a good idea. Covering your paste with it. That would probably help those last a lot longer. It's a good idea. I'm going to file that one away for future reference. All right, let's go ahead and just come on here. I forgot that I needed my sentiment still from on here. I'm going to add that real quick, just so that this piece is all ready to go. All right, so for this one, I used dough ink. It's kind of a nice soft brown. And this is kind of a nice detailed sentiment. And you can see it stamps really good, but I'm trying to be careful so I don't press out the detail of that image. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it twice with my Misty. That'll give me a nice dark impression. Oh, bye, Greta. Enjoy your puppy dog. All right. So it'll just, when you stamp it, instead of inking it up and just really jamming it down super firmly on a little detail sentiment like this, if you press it a little more lightly, even if you have to re-ink it again when you have the Misty, it's easy to do that and make sure you get a clear impression, but also that you don't mess up the detail of that sentiment. All right. So this little part of element here is all done and ready to go. I'm going to set that aside here, and let's go ahead and create our card base. So I have this is what I would normally just score at 5.5 and make a normal top fold A2 card base. And if you saw my sample here, I want it to kind of open across the middle like this. So whatever I score it at, it has to total up to add up to 5.5 inches. So what I picked to do was to score at 2 inches, which is right here, and then rotate it around and score it at 3.5, which is right here. By doing that now, I can crease and fold these in my bone folder. And you can see that's going to pretty much match up perfectly in the center there. I don't know why that one. No, it's about the same. I'll say there's a tiny gap on the other one too. So if you don't score it perfectly straight, you'll end up crooked or whatever. So just score it nice and carefully so that you make sure you get a good fold on that. Now I want my background to cover this entire front. So I'm going to stamp that on all at once here. So we're going to use the Misty, and something I often forget, if I'm going to use a red rubber foam background, you have to take that extra little pad out of the inside of your Misty. So the same, to do a fun fold like this, you can come in any direction. If you wanted to make it a vertical fold like this, you would just need to make sure everything added up to 4 1/4. So you can divide it perfectly even in the middle, but I kind of thought it was a little more fun to have it offset. So it's just kind of a simple, easy way to kind of get a little bit of a unique way for your card to open. All right, I'm just gonna put those out of the way because I don't need those here. I'm gonna pop this into my Misty, and then just to kind of hold this in place, I don't want it to pop open and get smeared while I'm stamping. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of Post-it tape and just make a simple little loop there, pop it on the inside, and use that to kind of stick and hold it down. All that's doing is just keeping it straight so I don't have to worry about them popping up. And then the other thing is I just use my tape runner to put just, can you see that tiny little dot of adhesive? Because when I'm using a background, if you're stamping on something smaller than your background stamp, you can't put your magnets on there to hold it in place, or you'll end up with a spot without your image on it. So as you can see there, my image is covering that whole background there. So doing that little tiny bit of adhesive on the back, I'll show you how I get it off as soon as I'm done here, but let's go ahead and stamp that background. I went with the softest of our brown colors, which is Warm Buff. When you stamp it on the craft, I love the tone on tone effect you get. It just makes a nice, soft, pretty background. It's good for just kind of a neutral, subtle look. Okay, ink that up really well. Stamp that over the top. Yes, this is definitely one of my favorite background stamps. All right, and actually that little bit won't matter because our image is going to cover that. But I can kind of, when you see the little spots that you kind of miss, by holding that in place, now I can come back over and kind of go, oh, I need to press that a little bit more. I didn't quite get it fully impressed there. And now I pretty well got it all covered and great. So yes, we are still live right now, Sharon. I see you on there commenting. I don't know why it doesn't have the red live hello, by the way. All right, quickly clean that off just a little bit. And then I'm going to set that up out of the way to deal with here in a moment. All right, now I can pull that off, and that little tiny bit of adhesive I have on the back, because it's such a small little bit, I can either just rub over it with my finger and peel it off, or if you have a little gum eraser, it's great for adhesive. You can just quickly pop that into a little blob and throw it in the garbage, and then the adhesive is gone on the back and you don't have to worry about that. All right, now I can pull off those in there because those don't matter now. Sometimes I save those for later to use, something like that. All right, so now we have our fun fold, and you can probably tell, here's a great example of the difference. This is the exact same ink. I stamped it there in that Warm Buff, and then once the dye softens and blends into the paper, that's the final color you end up with. So it's kind of a good way to play with your inks, play with them on different mediums, and kind of just see the difference between when you first do them and after you've stamped them and they've had a chance to color your paper. That's why ink swatches are so awesome with dye inks. Hi, Julie from New Zealand. Yay, Sybil for slimline dies. I heard those were going fast too. All right, so that's what that's going to soften out to as it sits and as a little time goes by. So where did I put? There it is. So now all we need to do, and if you want to keep that darker color on that background as well, you could stamp with the next deeper shade. So if you kind of go, oh, I kind of like it darker, stamp with a little bit of a darker shade. So the dough ink would probably dry to be about that color. So it would look pretty dark when you first put it on, but I think it would soften up and look about right. All right, final touch. I'm going to use a good sturdy adhesive because on this card, I'm only attaching it there. You can attach it either at the bottom or at the top. And I guess it kind of, I did the other one here. I did it at the top so it folds out like that. But just for fun, let's switch it up on this one and I'll attach it at the bottom and we can see which one. Yeah, and Sharon, I love, yes, camping. I know. Normally we would have gone camping by now this year, so it's a little bit sad. Still continuing to put that off. All right. I like to use a good sturdy adhesive for this part. Oh, I see Linda had to run too. Because I'm only adhering it on one side, so I need to make sure that it really attaches really well onto that card. All right, get that centered on there before I push down, just to make sure I'm happy with where it is. Push it down nice and firm. And there we go. We have it adhered on the bottom and it opens up. So what do you think? Which way do you like it better? Would you adhere it on the top or the bottom? I don't even know. I guess it just depends which way you want to do it. And again, this would be fun to do it opening. I think this is kind of called is it a gatefold? I don't even know the names of all of them. But yeah, I think I agree that I like it on the bottom better too. I feel like it just kind of stays together a little better. So, all right. So that's all there is to that. And kind of a fun, take some of your stamps. I mean, like this set is so fun just for building the scene like it shows on the back. But play with the different elements and there's lots of different, Leah likes it on the top. Okay, so we have one vote for the top. I don't even know. I think it just depends on your preference. The other thing I love about the way you do this is it's still completely an A2 size card. It'll still fit in your normal envelope. It's nothing different on the sizing. And the way it opens, you still have all of the inside of the card to write your note on because nothing's going to get spotted from the front. There's no openings or holes or anything. So kind of another fun thing about this shape of card. So, all right. Oh, there's another vote for the top too. All right. And also, this makes me want to use my background stamps a lot more for tone-on-tone stamping. It's almost like making your own super soft pattern paper. So I'm definitely going to play with that a little bit more as well. All right, I'm going to give a minute here and let Leah pick a winner for today, the $15 gift card. And while she does that, I'm going to start saying thank you to everyone who joined today. I sure enjoy these hangout times every week, even when they do sneak up on me when I don't remember to post my notice as early as I probably should. Hello, Jean from Florida. All right, there we go. We got a winner. Congratulations to Kara Magelke. I might have said that wrong, but congratulations. Enjoy your $15 gift card. Oh my goodness. And then the comments are just popping in. All right. I will be back on Facebook for another live on Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week in the meantime. Take care. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you later.